realize that, especially when you're at the point of trying to come back and trying to get over the hump of like trusting your body. That's the hardest part, is like you've done everything you can, rehab wise, and to get back on the court, and then it's like the mental block of trusting your body and knowing you put the work in. So
Boom! You heard it right there. The warning shot has officially been fired, and the rest of the WNBA needs to be on high alert. Welcome back to the channel, basketball fans. Today we are breaking down the absolute massive, landscape-shifting news that just dropped out of Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark, the face of the franchise, the generational talent, and the player who single-handedly shifted the paradigm of women's basketball globally, has officially confirmed that she is 100% healthy and fully geared up for the 2026 WNBA season. Now, if you have been following the WNBA closely over the last couple of years, you know exactly why this quote is sending shockwaves through the basketball world. You know exactly why coaches in New York, Las Vegas, and Chicago are suddenly pulling out their whiteboards and rewriting their defensive schemes. Because a Caitlin Clark at 80% is a perennial all-star. A Caitlin Clark at 90% is an MVP candidate, but a Caitlin Clark at 100%, fully rested, fully healed, heavily muscled up, and holding a massive chip on her shoulder? That is a terrifying prospect for anyone not wearing an Indiana Fever jersey. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and let me know down in the comments right now, do you think a fully healthy Caitlin Clark is going to win MVP this season? Drop your thoughts below, because we are about to dive deep into all the spicy details, the behind-the-scenes drama, and exactly what this means for the entire league. Let us rewind for a second and put this incredibly crucial health update into proper context. To understand why Caitlin Clark being at 100% is such a massive deal right now, we have to look back at the absolute gauntlet she has run since she first declared for the WNBA draft. When she entered the league back in 2024, she did not have an offseason. She went straight from a grueling, emotionally exhausting NCAA tournament run with the Iowa Hawkeyes, carrying the weight of the entire college basketball world on her shoulders, setting all-time scoring records, and playing absolute max minutes straight into WNBA training camp. There was no break. There was no time to heal the micro-tears in her muscles, no time to rest her joints, and certainly no time to mentally decompress from the absolute circus that surrounded her every single move. And when she stepped onto the WNBA hardwood, the welcome was anything but warm. We all saw it. The physicality of the WNBA is notoriously brutal, and veteran players made it their absolute personal mission to test the rookie. She was picked up full court, bumped on every screen, trapped relentlessly, and subjected to hard fouls that bordered on flagrant night in and night out. Opposing coaches threw double teams, box and ones, and heavy defensive pressure at her, forcing her to expend massive amounts of energy just to get the ball across half court. Despite all of that, she put up historic numbers, broke assist records, and proved she belonged. But the toll it took on her body was undeniable. Moving into her sophomore season in 2025, the target on her back only grew larger. The expectations multiplied. The Indiana Fever were no longer just a fun young team. They were expected to be serious playoff contenders, and Caitlin pushed herself to the absolute limit. She played through minor nagging injuries, rolled ankles, bruised ribs from hard screens, and the sheer cumulative exhaustion of being the primary ball handler, the primary playmaker, and the primary scorer for a franchise under the brightest spotlight in the history of the sport. We saw moments in the late fourth quarters where her shot fell just a little short, where the explosive burst of speed she uses to blow by defenders wasn't quite as sharp as it usually is. Her basketball IQ was always off the charts, but your mind can only do so much when your legs feel like they are filled with concrete. The media scrutinized every missed three-pointer. The haters came out of the woodwork every time she had an off night, and the narrative started to shift. People began to whisper, asking if the grueling WNBA schedule was too much, asking if she could sustain her style of play against grown women who were out for blood. Well, those whispers have just been silenced by a megaphone. This recent offseason leading into 2026 was the very first time since she was a teenager that Caitlin Clark actually had the time to systematically shut her body down and rebuild it from the ground up. And according to insider reports, The training regimen she put herself through was absolutely legendary. We are talking about a complete physical overhaul. She didn't just sit on a beach. She linked up with some of the top sports performance specialists, biometric analysts, and strength coaches in the entire world. The goal wasn't just recovery, it was bulletproofing. Sources close to the Fever organization have leaked that Clark has added highly functional, lean muscle mass, specifically targeting her core and lower body. Why does that matter? Because the core and the legs are where the power for that deep logo 3 comes from. It is where the balance to absorb contact in the lane comes from. When she drives to the basket now, and a forward tries to bump her off her driving line, she is not going to get pushed around. She is going to absorb that contact, finish through the foul, and look right at the defender. The added lower body strength also translates to better lateral quickness on defense, an area where she has been highly critical of herself and has been relentlessly working to improve. But it is not just the physical strength. It is the conditioning and the cardiovascular engine. Caitlin operates best in transition. She is the ultimate fast break maestro, capable of throwing a pinpoint, full-court laser beam pass with a flick of her wrist or pulling up from 30 feet before the defense even realizes she has crossed the timeline. To play at that frantic, high-octane pace for 35 minutes a night requires a set of lungs and a level of stamina that very few athletes possess. By resting her lingering ailments and focusing purely on high-intensity interval training, she has expanded her gas tank. Those deep threes that were front-rimming late in the fourth quarter last year, those are going to be nothing but net in 2026. Now, let us talk about the ripple effect this has on the Indiana Fever, because the rest of this roster is absolutely terrifying when you insert a fully healthy Caitlin Clark at the point guard position. Think about the synergy she has developed with Aaliyah Boston. Boston is an absolute force in the paint, a walking double-double who commands double teams in the post. Over the last 2 years, the Clark-Boston pick-and-roll has evolved into one of the most unguardable actions in basketball. If you go under the screen, Clark is punishing you with a three-pointer from the parking lot. If you go over the screen, she is blowing by you and forcing the defense to collapse. And when the defense collapses, Aaliyah Boston is rolling to the rim for an easy layup, or Clark is kicking it out to the wing. Add Kelsey Mitchell to the mix, an absolute bucket getter who thrives when the defense is scrambled, and you have a three-headed monster that is going to give opposing defensive coordinators absolute nightmares. The Fever's front office has spent the last 2 years perfectly tailoring this roster around Caitlin's unique, generational skill set. They have brought in wing defenders who can shoot the three, mobile bigs who can run the floor, and veterans who understand how to space the court. They have built a Ferrari, and now, the driver is finally operating with a full tank of premium gas. The spacing is going to be immaculate. With Clark at 100%, her gravity on the court is going to be immense. Defenders literally have to pick her up the moment she steps off the team bus. That gravity pulls defenders away from the basket, opening up driving lanes and cutting opportunities for everyone else on the floor. A healthy Caitlin Clark does not just elevate her own statistics. She elevates the shooting percentages and the efficiency of every single player wearing a Fever uniform. But of course, we cannot talk about Caitlin Clark without talking about the drama, the rivalries, and the intense, fiery competition that has made the WNBA absolute must-watch television. You already know the entire league is reacting to this news. Let us start with her ultimate rival, Angel Reese, and the Chicago Sky. The Clark-Reese dynamic is the modern-day Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird. It is pure box office. Every time these two step onto the court together, it is a war. The Sky have built a tough, gritty, defensive-minded identity, and Reese takes absolute pride in making life miserable for the Fever. You can bet your bottom dollar that Reese heard Caitlin's quote. You can guarantee that quote is pinned up in the Chicago Sky locker room right now. Reese and the Sky are going to want to test that 100% healthy claim the very first time they play. They are going to bump her, they are going to trap her, and they are going to try to rattle her cage. But the difference this year is that Caitlin is physically and mentally prepared for the onslaught. The mind games won't work. The physical intimidation won't work. We are setting up for some of the most highly anticipated matchups in the history of the sport. And what about the heavyweights? The Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty. For the last few years, These super teams have been the gatekeepers of the WNBA Finals. Aja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart, these are the established queens of the league. They have the rings, they have the MVP trophies, and they have the experience. Up until now, the Fever have been the young, scrappy upstarts trying to knock on the door. They could hang with the super teams for 3 quarters, but the veteran savvy and the sheer depth of the Aces and Liberty would usually win out in the end. But a fully weaponized, fully healthy Indiana Fever team, led by a Caitlin Clark who has completely mastered the speed and nuance of the professional game, changes the entire championship calculus. Sabrina Ionescu versus Caitlin Clark is going to be a masterclass in perimeter shooting. Aja Wilson protecting the rim against Clark's fearless drives is going to be rim-rattling poetry. The super teams know that their window of dominance is closing because the young superstar in Indiana is finally ready to take the throne. The league is officially on notice. The days of Caitlin Clark being the exhausted rookie just trying to survive the schedule are long gone. The days of her being the sophomore, trying to push through the pain barrier, are over. We have entered the era of the fully realized, highly optimized superstar. Let us break down the statistical expectations, because the numbers she could potentially put up this season are frankly mind-boggling. In a year where she was battling fatigue and minor injuries, she was already dropping 20-plus points and leading the league in assists. Now, with a stronger base, better conditioning, and an improved supporting cast, it is entirely realistic to project her averaging a double-double for the entire season. We could be looking at 25 points and 11 assists per game. We are talking about breaking her own single-season assist records. We are talking about a massive increase in her three-point shooting percentage because her legs will be fresh in the fourth quarter. The efficiency metrics are going to go through the roof. Furthermore, her defense is the X factor nobody is talking about. With the added lateral quickness and the sheer physical stamina to play hard on both ends of the floor, she is going to generate more steals, jump more passing lanes, and turn those turnovers into instant transition points. She has the length and the instincts. Now she finally has the physical foundation to be a true two-way threat. When your best offensive player is also setting the tone defensively, the entire team culture shifts. And let us not forget the massive, unprecedented spotlight that she brings with her. The television networks are already scrambling to adjust their broadcast schedules. Every single Indiana Fever game is going to be a national television event. The arenas are going to be sold out from Seattle to Connecticut. The Caitlin Clark effect is not just alive and well, it is about to reach levels we haven't even comprehended yet. She is not just carrying the hopes of the Indiana Fever, she is carrying the economic boom of an entire professional sports league. The pressure is astronomical, but if there is one thing we have learned about Caitlin Clark over the years, it is that she does not just survive pressure, she thrives in it. She eats pressure for breakfast. The bigger the stage, the brighter the lights, the louder the haters, the better she plays. Think about the psychological advantage she has right now. For the past 2 seasons, every time she had a bad game, the narrative was, she's tired, or the league is too physical for her. Now, she has stripped away all the excuses. She has put the target squarely on her own chest and said, I am ready. That takes supreme confidence. That takes a killer instinct. She is essentially daring the rest of the league to stop her, knowing full well that she has done the grueling, unseen work in the dark so she can shine under the arena lights. The WNBA is currently in its golden era. The talent pool has never been deeper. The rivalries have never been more bitter. The fan engagement has never been higher. But even in a league packed with superstars, there is only one sun that the rest of the solar system revolves around right now, and her name is Caitlin Clark. This 2026 season is shaping up to be a historic, legacy-defining year. If she can stay completely healthy, if she can maintain this level of physical superiority, and if the Fever can execute their game plan, we are not just looking at a playoff run. We are looking at a legitimate championship contention. We are looking at an MVP campaign that will be talked about for decades. We are looking at the complete and total takeover of the WNBA. The quote at the beginning of this video said it all. We have unfinished business. That is a scary thought for the other 11 teams in the league. The rehabilitation is complete. The training camp is wrapping up. The regular season is right around the corner. D. The storm is brewing in Indiana, and the hurricane is about to make landfall across the entire league. I want to hear from every single one of you in the comment section. Do you buy the hype? Is Caitlin Clark going to average a double-double this year? Can the Indiana Fever finally dethrone the super teams and make a run to the WNBA Finals? And, most importantly, who is going to step up and try to stop a 100% healthy Caitlin Clark? Drop your hottest takes, your wildest predictions, and your boldest opinions down below. I will be in the comments arguing with you guys and pinning the best ones. If you loved this deep dive and you want the absolute best, most unfiltered, hard-hitting WNBA coverage on YouTube, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and share this video with a friend who loves basketball. The 2026 season is upon us, and we are going to be covering every single crossover, every deep three, and every bit of the drama right here on the channel. Thanks for watching, keep loving the game, and I will catch you guys in the next video.